16th of October was the World Food Day, and on the show we talked about food insecurity as it affects us here in Nigeria, and we know that over 25 million Nigerians, are facing food insecurity, and that is topping last year's figure, which stood at 17 million. This year we are at 25 million. Quite sadly, out of that number, 6 million of the food insecure Nigerians are children below the age of 5, and that's heartbreaking. But anyways, in honor of yesterday's commemoration of the World Food Day, the Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu actually celebrated the World Food Day at the Police College in Ikeja here in Lagos State. And of course, in a social media post, the governor expressed that his administration's commitment remains strong to make quality food accessible and affordable for all in Lagos. According to the governor, the food security systems in Ketu Ereyu Ekpe is part of his strategy to bring food closer to consumers and also reduce prices. According to the governor, his administration is working with farmers across the city to ensure healthy diets for all. As Lagos grows, so does the need for sustainable agriculture. And he's inviting all independent paddy rice farmers to work with the Lagos State government, because as a state, we need to grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Now, this is coming amidst reports that over 90% Nigerians are denied healthy diets. That's Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State celebrating with some indigents of the state who are farmers as they commemorated yesterday's World Food Day. And of course, all of that is coming in the midst of reports that over 90% of Nigerians are denied healthy diets. And that's because of another reason, which has to do with our economy. The inflation rate of Nigeria has recently climbed to 26.72%, and that's according to the National Bureau of Statistics, and they disclosed this yesterday, Monday, via their latest consumer price index report for September 2023. And the upsurge in inflation is mainly linked to the removal of petrol subsidies and the devaluation of the official exchange rate, both exerting substantial impact on consumer prices. You only need to go to the market for you to know what's going on in terms of the cost of food produce in the market. And Nigerians are not smiling at the moment, because the prices of food is beyond the reach of the average Nigerian. So, gentlemen, let's quickly talk about all of this. We take it from the angle of, the food insecurity vis-a-vis the inflation rates, the impact on the economy and on the average Nigerian. We'll start with you, Dr. Maduka.
President, look, when I saw Lagos State, trying to portray a state as a state of food production, I was just laughing, because I've not seen where the state is having an agriculture base. I've not seen. When you talk about agriculture, at least there should be a base for me to say, oh, this state is trying to see how we can, grow food for our citizens. I've not seen anywhere. If you go to Egbe, you see large chunk of arid land everywhere. So there's no cooperative for us to, be able to say Lagos State is doing anything in terms of food production. So that's just it. As far as I'm concerned, it's just issue about the normal farm fair. Let's celebrate. Even yesterday, I was seeing that even in Lagos now they're importing even bread from France. Each of that bread is 10,000 naira. It's in
the shops.
Yeah, in the shops. So if ordinary bread can be imported from...
No, but that has always been a thing. There are Nigerians who live in Nigeria who don't eat or drink or use anything produced in Nigeria. Everything is imported. That has always been a thing.
That takes me back to your question about inflation. Inflation will always be there. As far as that patriotism is not there, there's no way your money can stabilize. For instance, we just heard about the National Assembly, are operating themselves 160 million SUV cars per each person. You can imagine, multiply it. Meanwhile, we have IVM, innocent vehicle that could still bring out such vehicle, at least within the Nigerian context. It's not done that way. They rejected it, and they now went, when we are all talking about the value of Naira. So that's to tell you there's no patriotism. And two, the management of the resources, the government management of the resources, is it okay? Now you have president and how many routine of PAs, SAs, the same thing to every other minister. So when we are talking about shrinking the expenditure of the government, when you discover that the government is expanding the expenditure, it will affect the money. Then of course, the CBN recent the listing of 43 items, including toothpick. And I was asking myself, toothpick, why? Are we equally thinking about how we are going to survive, in our local production issue? There's nothing. So when you look at or aggregate it, there's no way your economy will be stabilized or your inflationary rate will not go. Basically, in two things. One, investments. People must invest for the economy to stabilize or be robust. Two, production level. As of today, most companies are folding up. So how do you think that we're going to come out of this doldrum? It's going to be very difficult. Because the only way you can survive is when people can bring in their investment, invest in your country. It will boost your foreign exchange reserve and then stabilize your Naira. But as of now, no, we're equally now even deep in debt. We're even borrowing. To the extent that even World Bank has just warned Nigeria. Look, the rate you're borrowing is going to be very, very hard for you to, come out of it. Thank
you, Dr. Maduka. Let's have your input, Prince Chilaka. Let me welcome you. I forgot to welcome you. All right, so that's my third analyst at the table. He is the executive director for Kuth Foundation, an NGO based here in Nigeria. He's also a businessman and a social affairs analyst. Prince Francis Chilaka, welcome again to the table.
Thank you, Patience.
All right,
we were talking about food security. Very interesting. Few years back, if you take a drive between Ojo, as if you're going towards Badagry, you'll see some people farming on all sorts of, but you can't see them anymore. You can't see them anymore. And the reason is because we've gotten to a state where governance is just about sharing money. When government wakes up from sleep and says they're going to transfer cash to people free, you're making people redundant. You're getting people to stop fighting for livelihood. The money you would have shared to people, why don't you invest it in agriculture? Why don't you invest it in transport? Why don't you invest it in education? No, we don't do that. And sometimes I ask myself, is it that Nigerians in particular, when they get into leadership, do they lose every sense of reasoning? Don't they think out of the box? So, it's one thing. Every governor yesterday was busy all over the place. Where are the right pyramids? We're talking about food security. Where are the right pyramids? Which the last administration used to deceive Nigerians. You see, I'll say this. This whole Nigeria situation right now is very laughable because right now we're looking at 26-point-something% inflation rate, which means that by December we should be looking at 30%. You need to be out there to understand how people are suffering. You need to be out there to understand the depression on the faces of Nigerians. Nigerians have never had it this tough. Anybody who says it is better now is a liar. It is not. Organizations are shutting down. Some private organizations have not paid for 4 months running. And then, when the National Bureau of Statistics gives you an information, it means that if they're telling you it's 26, it's about 30 already. That's a Nigerian factor. Nobody says the truth. See, I believe that there's a way forward. I just don't believe that we should criticize without providing a solution. The first solution in food security, in moving this country forward, is for government to have the will, the political will, to fight insecurity. How many people in the north are going to the farms? We should be asking ourselves these questions. A few years back, you just see all those trailers from the north carrying tomatoes, carrying potatoes. Where are they? We need to address the issue of insecurity so that farmers can go back to the farm. It's not about inflation rate, it's just that government has lost every sense of leadership.
All right, thank you, Prince Chilaka. Now, let me bring in Mr. Amua. You are the security expert. This political will, we keep talking about every time the government should have the political will. I'm beginning to think perhaps it means something else, apart from what I understand it to mean. What is this political will? Because every time you see the government of the day summon all the security chiefs, meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting, all right? Is that not showing political will? To do something about our security issues. What is this political will, or what more do we need to do, really?
Well, by dictionary meaning of political will, we know what it means. But let me be sincere, seriously, when we keep talking about political will, I ask myself the same question you just asked me. Are we saying Mr. President does not have that executive power to direct things to be done? You see, on this table, 2 years back, I still remember we were talking about this issue of insecurity that is going to lead to shortage of food in Nigeria. Go to Benue State. I was privileged to have my Form 1 in Benue State in Boko, around that level.
The food basket of the country.
If you are driving around Benue State, you know what they are called? Basket of what?
The food basket.
The food basket of the nation. Go to Benue State today and see whether there is food. And those are the guys that are supposed to be farming. You see, we are talking about inflation, we're talking about food insecurity. These things have been, it's been there that is going to happen. Honestly, I'm sorry, we have to say it again. The past 8 years was a major failure for this country in terms of insecurity, in terms of not planning ahead. Government, let's not blame Mr. Tinubu. Mr. Tinubu said he's going to continue from where Buhari stopped. So let's not, we knew before those who voted. So we shouldn't complain. But giving governors 5 billion as palliative, just like Prince said, do you know that if that 5 billion had been invested to the agriculture, do you know what would have happened? Or if now, patient, there's so much. A few days ago, our online is there. This is not on this table now, where one of the senator was lashing out at the military on how much they have spent from 2021 or 2020 to present to date. Only few billion goes to the capital expenditure, all is concurrent. So it was now people is as insecure to become business to some people. I don't want to talk about what happened between Israel and Hamas. Just within a second, we saw the result. That's a nation who really who cares about the people. Just within a second. So I don't know about us. We are in for it. I'm sorry. We are going to say it again on this table. It's not because one is being pessimistic or trying to create fear in people. People are hungry. People are hungry. I have a platform where I put some men together. We're over 250 men in that platform. If I tell you the complaint, that comes every single day, as of today, some men have not able to pay their children's school fees. Some don't. In fact, patience, let's go on.
Let me just add to.
Please add. And while you're adding, let me ask you quickly.
Okay.
Where is this going to end? Because last year's figures was at 25.8%. Last month, I mean. Today we're talking 26.72, and it keeps rising. All right. So before we hit December, like Prince Chilaka said, we might be doing 30. But what is all that going to lead to?
I was able to check the website of the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, And I was trying to get the factors that make up what figure they
exactly.
had with. And I couldn't find certain factors.
But we all know what the factors are.
No. The factors I'm looking at from the rural areas.
Okay.
Sorry. Sorry.
It's okay.
It's not about taking your statistics within an environment. Look at the rural area. People are suffering. So if you talk about inflationary rate in rural areas, it's up to 35%. People are going through hell. So, like he said, before you look at your interest rate, the bank interest rate, just oppose it with what just happened. You discover that the bank interest rate is up to 24%. So if you are now a manufacturer or a producer and you borrow money 24%,
how do you pay back?
You must increase it. So how do you pay back? So these are part of the multiplier effect of this trend that is rising. Of course, we are going to hit 30%. Don't forget that our Naira is already 1,000 plus now. And I'm looking at December, it could be up to 1.2 or, you know. So, and as of now, if you project, you discover there's nothing that the government is doing. There's nothing. I've not seen any strategic plan that the government is trying to say, okay, this is how we're going to assuage this, instance increase. Now, you talk about insincerity. Let me tell you, the insincerity of the government is why we are where we are. If I put Professor Osibanjo's language. Just recently, Katsina State Governor came out openly to accuse the federal government of palling with terrorists. And even yesterday he said that he doesn't mind to go to the bush now to fight himself. What does that tell you? Recently we saw a video where even the military were telling people to give way for terrorists. Okay.
It's not a confirmed video. We'll strike that out.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Okay. But the issue is that, like Richard said, and of course the military, I think I better said it, for any insurgent that lasts for more than 48 hours, government is there. If we want to tackle food security, economic buoyancy, production, in every aspect of our economy life, even life itself, we must first of all tackle the root cause of this insecurity in almost every part of this country. There's no part that is secure right now. It's not about the north. You're talking about even the east. As of today, my people cannot go to farm. I come from Isugwato. We have a log banta where you have a hedge of Fulanis. You don't go there. So every day you heard about kidnapping. In fact, now because of trend, people are trying to say, look, not everything you are going to portray, so that people will not be scared of coming home. But the issue is that the truth is there. Kidnapping, terrorism, bandit is on increase. What is government doing? All the security agencies, instead of them being loyal to the country, are more of loyal to the leaders. Because you see them carrying their bags, you see them doing everything, even when this is glaringly a criminal case, you can see that a policeman will be carrying a bag of a senator or whatever, instead of going and doing what they're supposed to do. We are not serious. I'm telling you, the insincerity in us is that we are not serious. With the day we want to fight corruption, the day we want to fight insecurity, the day we want to fight food insecurity too, every other thing, production line or whatever, we will do it. But I'm afraid if this set of people that we call leaders could do that.
Okay, thank you. All right. This is actually like the discourse across board, all right, and what makes it very serious is the fact that it hinges on our economy. Not only that, it also hinges on our survival as a people. If the people cannot afford to feed themselves, then I don't know what else we're going to be able to do. All right, already there's anger across states over the quantity of palliative foodstuff which is shared to beneficiaries by state governments. Of course, we all know that the federal government promised 5 billion to each state, but the first tranche of that payment is 2 billion naira. All right, and yesterday I showed a video of a man from Ogun State who was asking the state governor to come and take the rice he brought to their estate, because that small bag of rice is supposed to be for 147 households within the estate. How are they going to share it? All right, that's supposed to be the palliative for the removal of fuel subsidy. Okay, so how really can a state share 100 bags of rice to, let's take Lagos for instance, where you have over 20 million Lagosians, okay? How do you share 100 bags of rice? I don't, my mathematics is not fantastic, but then even then it's not adding up. But amidst all of these worries, yes, that's the video, we used it yesterday. Amidst all of this